I take this podcast as a sign of the apocalypse.
Yeah, this is like when this podcast starts, it's countdown to doomsday.
Yeah.
So
we are the beast in a Revelation.
Yeah, I was thinking you could, I don't know, either name your child or what, like a good name would be Mark Beast. Like that would just be a good name, you know? 'Cause it's kind of like the mark of the beast, but
Yeah.
not quite. Like,
I feel like Mark is kind of underwhelming.
Yeah. Make sure.
Compared to his
Yeah.
last name.
Beast, yeah. I was gonna say too, since you're new to the podcast space, just be sure to not leave dead air. So if I have an awkward silent moment, you gotta say something, you know.
I think you got the wrong person.
Okay, you know, it's a learning process for us all.
You know you can edit out the dead air.
Yeah, that's too much editing. Yeah, just make sure to not say anything that we have to edit out.
Right. Well, you're a busy man.
In the you know, fantasy world of podcasts, because this isn't real life, and this is not an ASMR podcast. All right, yeah, it's almost like we need some music or something.
Do you know the story behind the song actually?
What would you care to tell us?
Not if you put it like that.
Please tell us.
Okay. I guess that works. Yeah. So it was written in commemoration of the Napoleon's invasion of Russia in 1812. That's why it's called the 1812 Overture.
Oh wow.
I always thought it was about the War of 1812.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dumb American.
Okay.
But yeah, it's actually about.
You're not dumb. But
I thought you were gonna say I'm not American. Which is like.
No, keep going. Sorry.
You don't want to dox yourself.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, and it kind of matches the phases of the invasion. This section right here symbolizes the prayer of the Russian people, of praying for their motherland in this strife.
What do you think about Russia?
You know, beautiful country, beautiful culture.
Have you been there?
No.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
who doesn't want to go?
I mean, who's asking?
Well, the muses, the sages,
The sages.
the oracles.
Is that you?
Is no oracle,
Okay.
but might be a prophet. Are those the same things?
I think oracles have to be like women.
Right. Okay, so let's get this podcast started.
Yeah, let's turn that down as well. It's getting
It doesn't
the
sound
invasion starting.
It doesn't sound very good in the tin can.
No, it doesn't.
Just
very low, very low. Put it very low.
Yeah. Don't want to interrupt our listeners' music. All right, so yeah, I mean, I guess the key to podcasting is you just have to go for it.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So let's go to the end of the world. Let's
Okay.
imagine the world in its final years.
Okay.
How did we get here?
Probably Democrat-Republican Civil War.
Oh yeah, it could have been. Hopefully, it was a non-violent civil war.
You would think, you know, it says it's civil, like in the name.
History.
Yeah. Here we go.
When did it start? Let's just go back to the beginning. When did...
Herodotus, around 500 BC, in Greece.
Okay. Explain yourself.
He invented it. He wrote the first book about it,
Yeah.
and everyone's just been going off of that ever since then.
Wow. So he was a Greek?
Yes, he was Greek.
Yeah, I was just reading about Herodotus.
Oh yeah.
He was telling a story about the Greeks who passed by Nineveh after it was destroyed.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even tell where it originally was.
Yeah. Well, they're not very smart people.
Well, the actual Greeks, they were conquered by Rome.
They were, yeah.
I don't know that means the Romans were smarter necessarily.
That's usually what it means.
They were, because you can be smart and a peaceful man and just be conquered by a dumb person.
That's true, yeah.
If you're just not ruthless and you're a pacifist.
Yeah.
So it could be the smart people who lose out in the end.
Well, the Greeks were so smart that they became dumb.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like you get to a certain point.
That's like people that get PhDs and shit. You know, they go to school so long they melt their brain.
Right.
That's kind of like the Greeks.
Right. It's hard to know, like, when you can take a bite during a podcast.
Yeah. Probably never.
Because I'm kind of hungry, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I think never is usually the
Okay. Right, that's why.
conventional wisdom.
That's why there's just drinking like water and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And smoking cigars like Joe Rogan. Not that I'm not a fan of him. He's okay. He's not that good of a podcaster.
Yeah.
Did you hear there's a Meghan Markle podcast that was doing pretty well?
Like the
princess?
Yeah, the princess.
What do you think about that?
Does it have video?
I think it does have a video, and I think Oprah Winfrey's connected, but I didn't watch it.
Really?
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. Yeah, she's a traitor, I would say. She's a real, like...
Are her and Harry still together?
I think so, yeah.
Hmm. So is Harry a traitor as well?
I think so, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, they both moved to Canada.
Right. That's a good country.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, I think we need more stream of consciousness. That's what I'm feeling. You gotta find the right note to play, like when you're podcasting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Canada. I wonder what would happen.
What do you think about Canada?
If would America ever conquer Canada, or would that be,
I think they tried to, like.
Oh yeah, that's right. They literally like invaded Canada,
yeah,
right?
I think so.
Who's that? He's up there with Judas. What's his name? The betrayer of George Washington.
Oh, Benedict Arnold.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't he like slightly connected to that?
Probably.
Man. Benedict Arnold, Judas.
Yeah.
Hitler.
Yeah.
Crassus.
Crassus.
Because he didn't really betray anyone. We're, of course, talking about the triumvirate in Rome.
Of course.
He, I almost feel like we need a triumvirate in this podcast. Because it's like...
Yeah, we need a rich guy, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's like...
We need a patron.
I think 3 is the perfect amount of people, because then you, like, bounce off each other.
That's true. Very stable shape. Triangle.
Right. But yeah, I'm enjoying this podcast for you.
Yeah, I'd be the Pompey of the triumvirate.
Oh yeah. I'd be the Crassus probably.
Okay, so we need our Caesar.
We need our Caesar.
We need our Caesar.
Yeah. Well,
I'd be Pompey because I'm an overachiever.
Yeah.
I'm still very young when I accomplished all those things.
But Pompey was old in the end.
Well, in the end, yeah. So that's a point against him, that he was old.
Right, he couldn't keep up
at one time
with the kids.
Yeah.
Man, Caesar, that SOB, he just killed so many people.
Right.
He was a bad dude.
Yeah, in the cool way.
Like a bad A dude.
Oh yeah.
Both. I mean, it's hard to justify murdering people.
Yeah. You got to give it to him for his tax reform, though. Administrative reforms.
I didn't know he tax reformed. Yeah. What did he do?
He just like...
You mean the empire? Or?
Yeah. He just... He hired a bunch of, tax agents.
Yeah.
Tax agents.
Oh, tax collectors.
Yeah, that's where Joe Biden got it from, actually. He saw Caesar. He was like, I should do that.
Yeah. Caesar was smart.
Yeah.
But he was violent.
Yeah.
I guess that, he thought other people were less than him.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a sad person.
Yeah. Well, the Republic was dying anyway. They just needed that, like, mercy killing
just
at the very end.
Finish it quick.
Yeah.
So you think it was inevitable?
Yeah. Yeah, it was, it could have lingered on, maybe. Like on life support or something, but...
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just too many, wasn't doing anything, for the plebeians, the urban, the urban poor, the rural farmers, just wasn't doing anything for them.
Right. Those rural poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, put yourself in like a rural poor Roman position.
Okay.
Was Caesar a guy you look up to?
Oh yeah, that's my guy. If I'm a rural poor person,
if it's like
that's my guy.
What year was he assassinated? Do you remember?
44. 44. The Ides of March.
Okay.
44.
So if you're like in 40 BC, no wait, wrong direction.
Okay.
50 BC.
Sure, yeah.
Do you like Caesar? Do you know who Caesar is?
Oh, are you kidding me? Caesar's my man. In 50 BC, just conquered Gaul.
Yeah.
You know, he's distributing his largesse.
Yeah.
He is consul, I think, around that time.
Consul. Okay.
Around that time.
Okay.
He is maybe made dictator for life around that time. Well, that was before the Pompeian civil war.
Okay.
That started the next.
So he would have been in Gaul, maybe.
I think so.
Because
the conquest ended around 51 or so.
How long was he around after Pompey?
Well, Pompey died actually around 47 BC, I think, after his defeat. At Pharsalus in Greece.
Okay.
By Caesar's forces.
Yeah.
Then he fled to Egypt to the east, where he could regroup.
Yeah.
And he was murdered by the Egyptians.
The prince, right?
Yes.
Not
yes.
Cleopatra.
The inbred boy king.
Yeah.
Ptolemy the 12th or 13th.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
And he was wanting to get in with Caesar, right?
Yeah. Also married to his sister as well.
Cleopatra.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense why she wanted to fall in love with Caesar to kind of get out of the
I think that's probably an upgrade from her 13-year-old brother.
Really? So she was married to the 13-year-old brother?
Yes.
To keep the
bloodline.
The bloodline.
Yeah.
What do you think about bloodlines today?
I don't know. Mine aren't too good, so
yeah,
I could do without them.
Oh yeah. Did you hear about that one fertilization doctor that had 100 kids?
I did, yeah. I think you told me.
I did tell you. He
I think that was my doctor, actually.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, but so you don't like to talk about space, do you?
Space?
Yeah, it's not your thing.
No.
Like outer space?
No. Outer? No.
Although you have to admit the Romans' gods were named after planets.
That's true.
Or the planets were named after them.
That's right, actually. It is that direction.
Yeah. So, all right.
I don't like space. There's nothing for me there.
It's just out there.
Yeah.
There's almost no point to it.
No. None at all.
Well, some people think Jesus is going to come back before we ever make it to space.
Well, we already did.
Well, I mean, colonize other
planets.
Okay, I see. Because there's a conundrum here. Either Jesus comes back soon, or you have Jesus in space, assuming he comes back later. Yeah. I mean, I know not all of our listeners believe in Jesus, so I don't want to discriminate against them.
Yeah.
But assuming he did come back later, he would have to preach to all the planets.
Yeah.
Which would make him, have to fly through space.
Yeah. He would just send out his apostles again, but instead of Syria and
Yeah.
Ephesus or whatever, it'd be the planets instead.
Right, it'd be like the Church of Jupiter and the Church of Pluto.
Yeah.
He'd have to revise. There'd almost have to be another testament.
Yes.
But, most people don't think that's biblical.
Well, if Jesus did it, I'm sure it'd be okay.
Yeah. Well, there's other books, right?
What do you mean?
The Book of Life.
Oh, okay.
The Bible.
Isn't that a children's book, the Book of Life?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that where grow a tree or something?
It's a movie.
Oh. Okay.
But it's also, if your name's not written in it, you don't make it to the good place.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's some other books. Well, obviously in Joshua it mentions the Book of Jeshurun.
Okay.
I don't think it necessarily means that's.
There's also the
divine book, but
the Apocrypha.
What? Correct. The Apocrypha, some of that's probably biblical.
It was originally. Because it was in the Bible.
Right. Do you believe in the Bible?
That it exists?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe some of it historically?
Yeah.
Do you believe all of it historically?
No.
What parts don't you believe in?
Or
not to label you, but if you had to choose parts that were less accurate, because I don't want to force you to say something's not true when you don't even know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, probably the New Testament's the least accurate.
Okay. So the most important part. What makes you say that?
I don't know. It's like, what are these places? Gethsemane? That doesn't sound like a real place.
Okay, they just made up a place. A garden, right?
Yeah.
Well,
You're gonna kill a man in a garden?
right, that does seem a little weird.
You're not gonna sit on the park bench, play chess maybe?
I don't know, think of how many people have died in gardens, though. I can't.
Well, a lot of people were buried in gardens, probably.
The secret garden? Did someone die in there?
Are you talking about mine?
No, I mean that movie. Isn't it based off of a...
I have no idea what that
There's
is.
a paralyzed person who
Oh, okay.
has a secret garden, and they take an ice bath.
Okay. Is that like a cure or something?
I think it helps.
Paralysis?
I haven't seen the movie in a while.
Okay.
It was kind of like a depressing movie.
You don't say.
Yeah, so. But I can't think of anyone historically who died in a garden, but I feel like there's a lot.
I think, well, the human soul died in the Garden of Eden, right?
Oh, man. That's a good point.
Is this a Jurassic Park thing?
Yeah. Do you like dinosaurs?
No.
Why not?
Huh.
So you don't... I'll let you finish.
I don't believe in them.
Okay. So you're not a fan of space?
But not for biblical reasons.
Oh, why don't you believe in them?
No. They just, too big.
Too big.
Yeah.
Like, keep
Doesn't
telling me
make any sense.
about
It's
that.
like a bumblebee, you know? Yeah, they shouldn't exist. It's against the laws of nature.
Yeah, how could they eat so much?
You can. Where do they get all that food? You can't tell me. We should get back to Rome. This is going to be a Rome podcast.
Yeah. Sorry, we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah, let's get to the brass tacks, as you say. What kind of a Roman era guy are you? Are you like a republic guy? You an empire guy? Kingdom even?
So, I mean, I think we can connect this to our dinosaur story. Our theories.
Roughly
I
contemporaneous.
mean, do you know who the Anunnaki are? Some people say it's conspiracy.
Is that like...
They're like aliens that helped build the
Is that like
pyramids.
Yoko Ono's band or something?
A little bit, yeah.
Anunnaki.
They built the pyramids.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them. So Rome started in about 500 BC.
That's when the Republic started.
Okay.
They were a kingdom before that.
But not BCE, right? Just BC.
They're the same thing.
Do you think, or do you have an opinion about, do you prefer BC or BC?
BC.
Yeah, I just think BCE, it's not as cool of a thing to say.
Not at all.
Because if you say before Christ, that's
Yeah.
got a lot of weight to it.
Yeah.
But if you say before the Common Era,
Yeah.
it's what's the point?
What the fuck is the Common Era?
Yeah, it's...
Apparently it's the ADs. The Common Era is the era after Jesus was born. So it's kind of funny. They tried to make it so they would differentiate it from Christianity, but they just mapped it completely onto Christianity. And so they're like, okay, the Common Era is like the era of Christianity now.
Right.
So even the secular era is tied completely to
the Common Era.
to Christianity.
That's true. Oh, my friend Bob was saying the other day that now I admit I am a Christian. So anything I say negative about Christians, you can't get mad at me for, because I am one, right? Isn't that? Can't you not be mad at someone?
We're having a struggle session here.
If they are that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't be mad at them for saying bad things about something
Yeah.
that they are.
Yeah.
What were you?
So give it to him.
Right. So 500 BC. Let's just say BCE. Let's be politically correct. I mean, you can't say politically correct because then that sounds like you don't appreciate the fact you're saying the words.
No, we're gonna say it with respect. We're bringing back the gravitas of political correctness.
Let's say them both. Before Christ and also before the Common Era.
BC, BCE.
Before the Common Era of Christ.
We're gonna compromise. We're gonna build the bridge.
CCE.
Yeah.
Before Christ, Common Era.
BCE, UCE.
Before Common Christ Era.
Before the Common Christ.
Yeah.
Before Christ's Common Era.
Can't tell what's happening.
Brother, you got the Spirit of Christ flowing through you right now.
Yeah. All right. So the
yes, 500 BC.
500 BC.
That's where it all began. Well, not really, but that's when the Republic began.
Right. Romanus. What was the first guy's name?
Romulus.
And his brother
Remus.
Yes.
Yes. Raised by a she-wolf and suckled at her teat.
Right.
Yes.
Many.
Descended from Aeneas from the Trojan War.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So they're Trojans.
Yes, they're.
Do you know?
Or Greeks. I'm not sure.
Was Alexander the Great a Greek?
He was, yes. In Macedonian.
Or Macedonians Greek?
Well, let's not get into that.
Oh, okay. That's a little.
That's
beyond ours.
Yeah. If we ever get doxxed, that'll cause some trouble.
It seems like biblically.
Yeah.
God thought they were Greeks. But, God thinks a lot.
You'll be very popular in Skopje.
Okay. Yeah.
But 500 BC.
Right. So it was a Greek city-state, like the Philistines. Except I think the Philistines were actually maybe
Phoenician.
Well, they could have been Phoenicians, but if anything, I think the Greeks were a city-state of Philistia.
Okay.
So I'm thinking the Philistines are like the older version.
Filthy Philistia.
Yeah, filth. Is that a line? People say.
I just assumed they did not bathe very much.
The Philistines were like Greeks. They were. The whole uncircumcised thing is kind of an insult because they were probably fairly clean.
Oh yeah.
Especially compared to the Amalekites, right?
Right.
The Amalekites,
of course,
were barbarians.
Well, yeah.
They.
Don't get me started.
I don't know. Is the R word a bad word?
Republican?
No. It's like they harassed the women of the Philistines.
Harassed.
And the.
Oh, I thought you meant the other R word.
The Judahites.
Okay.
I don't think you say Judean. You say Judahite.
Judahite?
For Judah.
Yeah, because then no one knows what you're talking about.
The tribe of Judah. Because Judah had a last stand against the Assyrians.
Oh, yeah?
So they were pretty bad A.
Yeah.
But the Amalekites were like barbarians. And I'm not saying that to...
Denigrate them.
Denigrate the Amalekites.
Yeah.
But they probably ate people, child sacrifice,
yeah.
Nudity,
yeah,
torture,
yeah,
harassment, sensuality, worshiping demon gods with like sharp teeth. So in a way, Rome civilized the modern world, or did they? You like what civilize?
They were very Christian pagans.
They were like They were like good pagans.
Yeah, they were.
If a pagan can be good.
Yes, well, they were like Plato, virtuous pagans.
Yeah, very malleable, like Plato.
Yeah.
You could shape it into anything.
Yeah, very impressionable.
Right. Now Plato.
Yeah.
Was in
which it's in the name.
Yeah.
You can shape it into anything.
I think they named the dough after the.
Yeah, because he's so impressionable. Exactly.
And some, obviously some things are just divine coincidences. God's like.
Yeah.
If you believe in God.
Yeah. That was definitely divinely influenced.
Do you think most people believe in God? No. The Romans believed in God.
Yeah, many of them.
True.
Many gods.
So, if you go back to... Okay, it's interesting. So you said 500 BC or about... There was a lot going on in 500 BC.
Yeah.
Now, if you say there's city-state of Troy, that was in 1200 BC.
Yes.
So what happened in the 700 years?
Well, so the kingdom of Rome the city was founded in 750 BC. So that cuts off like a third of that time. So we got that compensated for.
Wait, say that one more time.
750.
What?
Founding
The
of
kingdom.
The
The
founding
kingdom.
of the city. When Romulus founded the city.
So you think the city-state existed for 350 years?
As a kingdom, yeah.
So how far did its borders go before the Republic started?
Before the Republic. Not very far out. Their main conquest of the, Samnites and the Latin, or the Etruscans rather,
Yeah.
and the other Latins.
Right.
That was all. Well,
The
the Samnites were many hundreds of years after the founding of the Republic, about 200 years after.
right.
So
right.
they'd conquered like a little swath of territory around central Italy by the time in
Yeah.
250 years. So
Right. Right.
it was all just the city basically.
Right. That.
So
yeah,
they
that,
were slow starters,
Yeah.
which I can relate to.
Well, can't we all? I mean, I'd
in
say
this age,
most people are slow starters. To all you slow starters out there,
we see you.
that's how most people are in life.
Yeah.
Most people start out slow.
Yeah.
They play video games and
Yeah.
try to get girlfriends.
Yeah. Rome was in its fail son era for about 300 years.
Right. It was a struggle. They were almost wiped out.
They were many
Many
times.
times.
Yes.
They had fights with the locals.
Yeah. Rome sacked in 390 by the Gauls.
BC.
BC, yes.
So Rome was sacked a lot.
It was sacked once, but it was sacked not at all between 390 and 2 something AD.
Okay.
Or maybe they thought it could be sacked, so they put walls around the city because it was an unwalled city for most of its golden age.
Why do they call sack? Sack doesn't mean they put things in sacks and take it away.
And that could be. It could be that it's like when you sack someone,
Oh, like in basketball. I'm just kidding. Football.
Well, I mean like your friends, you sack someone. It like really hurts. Like you kick him in the balls.
Kick it. Right.
Yeah. So that's probably where it comes.
So it could be you kick him in the sack.
Yeah. So it hurts really bad.
You do like Santa or the Grinch and put things in sacks.
Yeah.
Or you sacked like in football.
Yeah.
Which could be tied to sacking a city.
Yeah.
Etymology is interesting.
Yeah. The quarterback is like the citadel.
Yeah, we gotta get a philologist on the show one of these days.
Yeah, the study of fills, for sure.
Study of language.
Oh.
I think, like talking.
Okay.
Like language. I don't know why that's
The
different.
study of Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil is probably a philologist.
He kind of is. But what's an etymologist if a philologist studies language?
He studies edibles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank God for modern politics. Thank God that stuff's becoming legal, because I just hate to see people locked up for just enjoying themselves.
I disagree.
You think drugs should be illegal?
Yeah.
Not to get political, because on this show we don't get political.
Yeah, never.
But Joe Biden, I think, wanted to crack down on drugs recently.
Sure, yeah.
Which kind of seemed a little bit of a Republican thing for him to do.
That's true.
But to each his own, right?
Well, he's the great compromiser of our age.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, if he became emperor, that would be interesting.
That
But,
well,
I mean,
he'll become emperor, then he'll keel over immediately.
True. Then it would be total chaos.
So he'd be like Sulla. He'd gain complete control, and then
Right.
it'll be gone a year later.
I can't wait for people in 40,000 years to look back at America and be like, man, interesting history. Like we're looking back at the Romans,
Yeah.
They're gonna look back at us and be like, the American Republic started in 1776.
Mm-hmm.
George Washington. They're gonna think George Washington and Romulus are almost knew each other.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be so far in the future looking back. They're gonna be like, those guys are around the same time period, right? Yes. And we're, obviously in our graves, we're gonna be like, no, not even close.
Yes.
But of course, when you're 40,000 years in the future, things get a little hazy.
Yeah, and people will get a lot stupider that far in the future.
stupider or smarter or who knows mysteries.
Well, they won't have to think for themselves. They'll just be
Yeah,
hooked up
that's
to the cloud.
not to get philosophical, but if you have all knowledge, does that actually make you stupid?
I think so.
Because then you're lazy.
I think God's a himbo.
What's a himbo?
It's like
a bimbo?
Yeah, it's like a bimbo, but for guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't use bad words, so I really am not acquainted well with.
Well, it's not derogatory.
Okay.
It's very the opposite, actually.
Oh, okay. So we got Romulus and Remus.
Yes.
And they,
Then Romulus kills Remus.
what? It was a girlfriend, right? That got in a kind of drama, or no? Was there a lady involved? Because this
Maybe
it's her story, not his story.
that's true. Yes.
It's not his story; it's her story.
That's true. Well, many people think Romulus was a woman.
Are you just saying that? I mean, it could have
No.
been. Was any of it true? But we're getting into the weeds here.
Yeah.
All right, so back on track. Romulus.
Yeah.
Okay, who is that? Okay, the kingdom, the republic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had some Republicans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah, you had some.
they didn't like the king.
You had some Reagan Republicans.
That's not what I mean. You know that.
Well, who's to say?
Okay. Our listeners don't think this.
They might have
fun.
vibed with him if they're
Sure.
around during that time.
All right, yeah. Let's just try to go through Roman history. This is honestly a really good spot to start.
Yeah. Okay. So we've done the intro. Now let's get into the
All right,
meat of
let's
it.
start. So
So you got Romulus and Remus.
okay, we did the sack of Rome in
390.
390. Okay, so let's go forward from there.
Yes.
So then they started to build up the military.
Then they started to go crazy.
The military.
Yeah.
It was citizens,
Soldier farmers.
farmers,
Yes.
and they started to go defensive wars to protect themselves.
Yes.
So they defended themselves against
Yes.
the Gauls.
Yes. If we don't fight, if we don't attack, we will get attacked. Yes.
Do you think? Is that a doctrine you can live by, or were they in the wrong? Or is it just a time period situation?
I think that
Do you
they.
have to analyze each scenario for what it is?
I think that they really were innovators in
Yeah.
what we would call just war
Yeah. Oh, okay.
ideology.
So there was some logic to what they did. They weren't just complete
Their own logic, yeah.
psychos. It was definitely like a Rome first situation. They didn't really consider like the rights of other people
Not at all.
who spoke a different
Not at
language.
all.
like if you spoke a different language, they were like,
Yeah.
who even are you? But historically, that kind of makes a lot of sense, because now we have it pretty good with the internet and Diet Coke and stuff. But back then,
Yeah, they didn't know those other guys were people or not.
They didn't know they had souls.
Yeah. That's kind of the crux of it, I think.
Well, you could have assumed that they should have known that. But
but they were all the way over there. So it's hard to say.
Right, and you hear a lot of stories about dragons and elves as kids, probably as Romans.
Yeah.
So then you go to a foreign land and they speak a different language.
Yeah.
You don't know that language means anything.
Yeah.
For all
You just think they're like yelling.
Yeah, for all you know, it's like a wolf growling.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not necessarily true, but you could see how one would convince themselves that would be the case.
It's very easy to, yeah.
You're essentially lying to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think the Romans were worse than anyone else,
No.
but I think they were bad people. And I'm not saying I'm better than the Romans.
No, of course not.
But you assume the Romans are better than Nazi Germany.
Yeah. Well,
They were bad on par.
were they better than the Soviet Union?
That's a tough one. I would say slightly better. I'd say they're more on par with Napoleon.
Okay.
But yeah, let's a little detour into some prophecy.
Okay.
So, well, maybe not. But in the book of Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
there was the prophecy about the three horns.
Yeah.
And then the little horn rises and uproots the three horns.
My little horn is. Well, go on.
So, yeah. What do you think? What do you think that would be?
Well, a horn is triangular.
Generally, more what do you call a cylinder that's like pointy? Because it's not. It is triangular.
A cone.
Oh, that's
A
true.
cone.
It's a curved cone. Because
Yes.
triangular is a two-dimensional shape.
That's true. A triangular prism. But that would just be a triangle that's like going out there.
Yeah, I'm imagining crystals and lasers.
Yes, exactly.
And rainbows when you say
Exactly.
prism. But is that the case? So.
But a cone would be.
Right. Oops, sorry. Kick the table.
So a cone would be the geometric analog of a horn.
Right.
Now, a cone can be many things.
Yeah.
It could be a pine cone. Natural, of the natural world. It could be a funny hat,
Yeah.
like a jester's hat.
Right.
So you have this dichotomy between the natural world
That's deep.
and the unnatural world.
Right.
I'm not saying unnatural in a derogatory way,
Right.
but
Some things are
that is
unnatural.
yeah.
Like, stories are often unnatural.
Yes.
Evil is often unnatural.
Yes.
Is kindness ever unnatural?
Most times, yes.
Oh, interesting. So anything out of the ordinary is unnatural.
Yes. Anything that hasn't been mined from the earth.
So were the Romans unnatural?
No, because they came from the earth.
They were earthbound men.
Yes.
Do you think King Arthur had any Roman roots?
He was probably a Romano-Celt, so yes.
Was he 600? I mean,
He was post-Roman,
Post-
for sure.
yeah. He was probably a pretty good guy. He was probably a Christian, but also had a little bit of paganism still kind of
Yes, well,
You know.
that's often the case
around.
with early Christians.
Yeah, I mean, and no disrespect to Christians, and again, I am a Christian.
Yes, we have to make that clear.
I believe in Jesus as
Yeah.
my savior.
Yes.
But we got to be realistic here.
Yeah.
King Arthur probably still.
He's of his time.
I mean, Merlin never seemed to be a good Christian. I mean, he was kind of a little bit into like Druidism.
He's like a wizard, right?
Right. I mean, like John Dee or some of those other more modern guys.
It's not the basis for like Kiss or something.
Rasputin.
Oh,
John Dee, you mean?
yeah.
Well, he was the.
I'm thinking of Dee Snider.
Yeah,
That's a
John Dee was like the high wizard.
Twisted Sister. I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, probably similar. But John Dee was like a wizard in like Queen Elizabeth or something.
I see.
But I have no idea. But he was like fairly recent.
Okay.
He was like a magician,
Okay.
kind of like King Solomon.
Who is Joe Biden's Rasputin?
That's actually a very good question. And to be politically neutral as we are on this show, who is Trump's Rasputin?
Ah, very good question.
We need to find who are the Rasputins of the modern era and how to defend against them.
Yes. Okay, for Trump.
Let's list all the possibilities.
Okay.
And again, don't get political. But,
Okay.
I mean, you can get a little political.
For Trump, it's the My Pillow guy.
I could see. I mean, it's a little obscure, but Rasputin was obscure.
And for Joe Biden, I want to say Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I mean, I like Kamala Harris, but I could see her being like kind of a little bit of a Rasputin.
Yeah.
Because she's like a little bit conniving,
Yeah.
But of course, we don't know her. So.
She seems like she's possessed as well.
Right, but by what? The dawn of time. She's possessed by time itself.
What? Well,
Well,
what's the My Pillow's guy's name? Is Mike?
Mike, I want to say Blumenthal, but that's someone completely different. Mike Davos,
Mike Lindell.
Mike Lindell, yeah. And you're a socialist, right? I mean, you don't have to self-identify if you don't want to, but
Yeah, I am a orthodox Marxist socialist.
but not a libertarian.
I'm a Marxist Lenin. I'm not a libertarian.
You
I'm a.
So you believe in Marx, but you're not. You're like a pacifist, basically, right?
Yes.
As we all are.
Yeah.
Until
It goes without saying.
the time comes to throw
Yeah.
off,
Then all bets are off, basically.
Well, I mean, and this is like, someone genetically engineered bears to eat everybody.
Yes, but to your socialist point, is
Yeah.
there a broader point to this? Or are you just
Well, no, I was
outing me for no reason?
Well, no, I was just trying to give the audience context. I apologize for outing you.
I see.
But yeah, so Rome was sacked in 390.
Yes, yeah.
And then
And then they go about conquering the peninsula of Italy.
Man, they were kicking booty and taking names. And now biblically, they were the beast.
Okay.
With the 10 horns, but the 10 horns probably weren't born at that point. Definitely not until after Caesar. Of course, if you take a biblical point of view, which,
Of course.
Obviously a lot of people don't.
Well, I'm a Christian socialist.
You're a Christian socialist?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. I believe that.
You believe in Jesus?
I believe that Jesus was a socialist, but not the Son of God.
Oh, okay. We can get into that later. Obviously.
Jesus was the first. Jesus was the first socialist, but he was only a man.
Okay. No, some might say that's blasphemy.
Well,
I, for one, would say it's heresy, but to the ignorant, heresy must be forgiven. So I forgive you.
Well, as a Christian socialist, one of our main tenets is graciousness, and I graciously accept your
Thank you.
forgiveness.
Do you think the Romans were gracious?
To some, yes.
I mean,
Caesar was famously gracious to his
can't-
defeated enemies.
I mean, he enslaved them. I don't know that that's.
Well, I mean the
I mean,
the elites of his enemies.
so the 10 people in charge.
Yes, he was very gracious.
No,
to,
Vercingetorix was executed, but he didn't.
well, but he was a barbarian.
But he handed
You have
it
to
off.
understand.
You don't think Vercingetorix was royalty?
Well, he was barbarian royalty.
So who would have been the people who you would have been?
Senators,
Oh, like
Roman senators.
internal enemies?
Yes.
Do you think the Greeks were internal enemies?
I think the Greeks were internal.
Plenemies? Like half enemies?
Half.
Did you try to watch that show Spartacus on
No, I didn't.
Stars? Yeah, there's a lot of people without clothes.
Well, it's very well.
And,
It makes sense.
as a Christian.
Yeah.
Although Romans were Christians too, at a certain
As a Christian socialist, I believe that everybody should have some amount of clothes on at all times.
Yeah. Do you think in the future clothes will be abolished?
I think in the future, the disparity in clothing will be abolished,
Do you
and
think,
the clothing inequality will cease to exist.
Do you think someone listening to this is in the future?
Definitionally, yes.
That's true. But I'm thinking on the ruins of some, boring American cities aren't boring, but let's just say some fairly normal city, and everything's reduced to cinder blocks.
McDonald's, Starbucks.
The McDonald's sign is the only thing still standing in the city.
Yeah.
And someone's leaning up against that. It's the year 20.
If Planet of the Apes was made today, instead of the Statue of Liberty poking out of the dirt, it would be a Starbucks sign.
That's a good point. Do you think they should remodel the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
she should be a black woman now.
I agree. That should be done. It's about time to take Andrew Jackson off the $20 bill.
I thought they were doing that.
I think they are. I mean, I like Andrew Jackson, but he was
good name.
Racist. But
yeah.
So is Caesar.
Well.
And we still look up to Caesar.
Yeah.
As a figure of.
But he was racist against white people.
I mean, that's true. What about Ethiopia's been around for a while.
It has, yeah.
They were around before Caesar.
Yes, they were.
Sometimes they were friends with the Egyptians, and then they both invaded the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
So probably Caesar was just a violent, angry man, or do you think he had inner peace? Did Caesar have inner peace, or is he fighting in order to combat his lack of inner peace?
Right. He had an emptiness of the soul that he was trying to fill, is what you're saying.
Yeah, did he have an empty soul?
Yeah. If he had read, I don't know, maybe just took out, the classic.
Yeah.
The Old Testament, I think he'd have found inner peace.
Right. Wait, if he read the Old Testament?
Yeah.
I could see that, but the New Testament hadn't been.
It wasn't around.
It wasn't around.
So.
Yeah, but do you think he read the book of Daniel?
That's probably where he got a lot of his ideas from.
Yeah, he was like...
Of prophecy.
I am the Iron Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little bit of Game of Thrones,
yeah.
Cause
he saw that and he was like, oh, that's tight. I'm that, actually.
He was like, it's my destiny.
That sounds cool as hell, and that's me.
I think that he, probably was an intimidating person.
Yeah.
He was.
I'd assume so. Very type A.
Yeah, Rome's amazing from just
I know.
Historical prophet.
Yeah, well,
Historical
they famously
perspective.
were very misogynistic as well.
You mean women were not given the rights they should have been?
Not at all, no.
That's unfortunate. But there were powerful women in Rome at times.
Yes.
Obviously, Alexander...
But not enough. I think we can all
Right.
agree.
Where the common woman
Yeah.
was disparaged
Yes.
and not respected.
That's really the main problem with Rome, was
Yeah.
their misogyny.
Do you think that God will forgive them?
In heaven? Or I guess they're at
Ever?
they're not in heaven, so.
Well, that's a good question. How many of the Romans, your average Roman, do you think they went to heaven?
I think Horace...
in the Republic.
In the Republic.
In the Republic.
Oh, so pre-Jesus?
Well, yeah.
Because you have to make a distinction.
Right, pre-Jesus.
Right.
Were you going to say Horace?
Horace, yeah.
Which one?
The Roman one.
When did he live?
Around Jesus' time.
And he, okay. So you think he went to heaven?
No.
Oh. Why not? What did he do?
He was very promiscuous.
Sensuality and all that.
Yeah.
So some people probably didn't like him.
Yeah. Well,
So
no, I think they didn't care that much.
so his name's not in the Book of Life.
No.
What do you think that his eternal punishment will be?
He probably has to read Rupi Kaur poems all day.
Oh no. Do you
He has to read Instagram posts
Yeah.
and be like, this is what it's come to, huh?
Do you think
He has to read Facebook posts that are
yeah.
really melodramatic.
Right. Honestly, the fire is almost a mercy at a certain point.
Yeah.
You'd honestly be better to be in flames than have to read Instagram for all eternity.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
It'd be like an AI, Instagram that just never ended and always had
Yeah.
new content.
That's funny. I go on Instagram to read the posts. That'd be kind of funny.
Do you ever message the ladies?
Never. I've never talked to a woman.
That's good. It's respectable. It's maybe not good. God,
You can respect it?
God says, "Be fruitful and multiply,
Yeah.
fill the earth." Which
I'm
is
very fruity.
the Romans were fruity,
Famously so.
except when the Byzantines struggled in that area.
Did they?
Well, the disease, the Black
I see.
Plague,
I see.
wiped a lot of them out.
Well, it's not very.
So they have an excuse.
It's hard to start a family during the Black Plague, you know?
Yeah. Are the women? Well, I don't want to say anything negative, but
No, not at all.
if someone has the Black Plague, you maybe hesitate to go on a date. The boil.
Yeah.
The boil.
You don't want to put that on your Tinder profile.
Right. I have the Black Plague. You don't want to put that on.
Yeah.
Because.
Yeah. Graphic designer, 5'10",
So.
Black Plague. It's not good.
Is COVID? Well, we better not talk about that, right?
No, we don't want to date the podcast.
Yeah. So.
This was recorded in 1973.
Don't lie. It was 1965.
That's true.
Wait.
I really think the Vietnam War is going to go really well.
Yeah, I don't think it was a good decision to go into Vietnam.
Well, you know, it was a good decision though.
You know, I got my draft letter.
Killing the president.
But who knows if I'll fill it out.
Well, I got a place up north. If you ever want to.
All right. Maybe in 1967. Yeah, we'll think about it.
Sure.
Anyways, back to the Romans.
Back to the Roman Empire. So the Punic Wars.
Right, that's what I was about to get to.
Of course. Well, that's the next big thing.
Well, I got
so
it.
the Punic.
I read half a book about it.
I read not even half a book about that.
Do you think?
But I did watch a History Channel documentary that was an hour long about it.
Yeah, I mean history.
And Hannibal was black in it.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Was he in real life?
I think he was like Lebanese.
Oh, okay, so that's similar.
No.
Oh. So.
But he was pretty good in it. So.
Yeah, sometimes you just go for the best actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just had like 10 people show up to audition, and he was like the best one.
The audience won't criticize you if the acting is, top notch.
I think that's true, actually. You know.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to make a movie of King David, I would probably cast Samuel L. Jackson as Samuel.
Really?
Because his name's Samuel, and he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And Penina.
It'd be a lot easier on set too, because people wouldn't have to learn a new name.
Right. But Penina was her name, right? Samuel's mom.
Yeah.
I might be getting that mixed up. But who's his dad again? Not
Saul.
Not Eli or Saul.
Oh.
I can't remember. But anyways, it doesn't say the ethnicity of the mother. Mm-hmm. So if the mother was an
should have been Nubian.
Nubian, then Samuel L. Jackson could fit the role.
Yeah.
Especially if his dad's mom was also.
Yeah.
Nubian.
Yeah, and it's stronger in the mother as well.
Right. So. 100%.
Yes, but back to the Punic Wars.
Yeah. They were 300s.
200s and.
Okay.
Into the 100s.
Alexander was 300.
Yes, he was. Yes.
Wait, so there's no overlap, right?
Between what? The Punic Wars and Alexander?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So it's like Alexander, boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
Shakalaka.
Yes.
Four winds of heaven.
Yeah, dynasty in the making.
The splitting up the Ptolemies, and who are the guys?
The Seleucids.
The Seleucids.
The Antigonids.
Not to be confused with Seleucus Secundus, the military planet of the emperor.
Can you say that on radio?
What?
What you just said?
Seleucus Secundus?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the military planet
of
the Emperor Padishah IV.
Oh.
Were you thinking of something else?
It sounded like something else.
Well, I'm innocent.
Well.
Don't tell me what it sounded like.
Well.
But the Punic Wars.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
So the Punic Wars.
Yeah.
So.
They were right after Alexander the Great.
A little bit after. A couple generations.
Right, give or take.
Yeah.
So they fought Carthage.
Yes.
The
great power of Carthage.
The great Hannibal.
Yes.
Not Hannibal Lecter.
No.
There were a lot of Hannibals.
No.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
A couple Scipios. I'm pretty sure there were more than one Scipio.
Yes, there was at least 2.
And more than one Pompey, if we're being honest.
Yes.
Because he had sons and all that.
Yes.
And of course, everyone wanted to be named Pompey.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite fit. So, but
Hannibal.
Hannibal.
Yeah.
Hannibalized the Romans and destroyed them.
Yes.
And they had better ships, better technology.
Who? The Carthage? Carthage?
Yeah, they at least had better ships.
Yes, they were a naval maritime power.
Do you think they had better, like, infantry / just a better overall army?
No.
You don't think?
No,
Even,
the Roman legion was the premier fighting.
Even with the elephants?
Well, that's not really infantry.
So if we're talking cavalry,
Yeah.
then the Carthaginians win.
Yeah, that's more of an auxiliary force. The elephants.
Right. So.
The Roman infantry was. But back to back to Carthage. Hannibal.
Yeah.
He sees his country lose the first Punic War in 241.
Was he like a child?
A child,
right?
yes. Yes.
Possibly 11, 12, 13?
Yes, a preteen, very emotional.
So it's like he's kneeling in the dust and maybe someone he knows just
Yes,
took a sword.
acne-ridden.
Took a sword to the face and he's like, no, brother, I will avenge you, brother. I am Hannibal of Carthage. You know, some of that going on. I will destroy Rome with my last breath. But then he didn't.
Well, no, the funny thing.
Was it funny to them?
Mm,
But to us, we can laugh.
Well, you know,
Someone.
we have to be respectful.
That's true.
We don't want to upset any Carthaginian listeners.
Right. So, go on.
He sees his country lose the first Punic War.
This music's not helping. It's like clown music. Now watch it. Someone's favorite overture. You know, I'm a fan of the planets. Gustav Holst's The Planets.
The planets?
You know, where they got the Star Wars music from.
They got it from the planets?
Yeah. But go on.
He sees his country defeated in the first Punic War in 241 BC.
Okay.
He's a child in Spain, in España.
Espanol. Or
Yes, he's a Latino in
Wait.
Spain.
wait, Hannibal's from Spain?
He lived most of his life, his early life in Spain.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's some history for you.
yeah. Well, that's what you get on this podcast.
Plot twist.
That's what you get from
Was
us.
there any science? Did he do any science as a kid?
Yeah, he figured out how many naps a day he should take to be the most optimal.
He probably did have a philosophy.
He invented the siesta.
I mean, there's no doubt he could run a 5K.
Definitely.
I mean, everybody could run back then. Not to stereotype.
He
The
did many a
ancients.
5K on his march over the Alps, which is what he did when he was in his mid-20s.
Just for fun or when he was attacking?
No, well, it was probably pretty fun for some of it.
Yeah.
But in his mid-20s, he starts the Second Punic War.
He started it himself?
Yes. He invades.
Now, he wasn't king, was he?
No, he was from an aristocratic family.
How did he get people to follow him?
His father, Hamilcar Barca of the Barcid family of Carthage.
Not to be confused with Nabopolassar, who is Nebuchadnezzar's
No, that's a
dad.
common mistake.
Nebuchadnezzar's dad lived 200 years earlier.
Only 200.
Right? Five.
This is in the
hundreds?
year 240 BC. Hannibal.
What was his name again?
Hamilcar.
Hamilcar was 240 BC?
Yeah.
Okay, Nabopolassar was 540 or so.
I see.
He destroyed Nineveh.
Well, maybe it was a family name. Regardless,
Yeah.
the 240s BC.
Do you think Hamilcar could beat Nabopolassar? I mean, we're talking about the guy who destroyed Nineveh,
Oh,
and then his son destroyed Jerusalem.
well,
I mean, are they comparable?
I wouldn't rule it out.
I mean, of course, technology was different. 200 years. 300 years. Do you think there was... I mean, we're talking iron, you know, the bronze is finally getting pushed to the side.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking... What's his name again?
Hamilcar.
Hamilcar had some nice iron. It was like, you know, they didn't have steel yet, but it was like...
No steel.
Sharp. Probably more iron than Nabopolassar.
It was quality iron.
Yeah, I mean...
That much you have to say.
Iron was like gold back then. Iron ore.
Better.
You had the salt mines, and then you had the iron mines.
Yeah.
Did they have iron mines in Spain?
Many. They had many I'm not sure about iron, but they had many silver mines
Whoa.
and gold mines in Spain.
Okay, so go on. Hamilcar.
Hamilcar, he is from an aristocratic family of Carthage.
Right.
And after Carthage loses the First Punic War, he
Yeah.
embarks on a series of conquests.
Was it a suicidal conquest?
No, it was very
Like Philip of Macedonia kind of a situation?
No, it was very well prosecuted
Oh,
and successful.
yeah.
And he dies on campaign in Spain.
Was it a mysterious death or kind of just a random arrow?
It was old age. He died at the old age of 42.
A lot of kings died from random arrows in battle.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah.
When there's arrows flying and
Yeah.
you're on a horse or a chariot.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a.
Well, you had skin in the game back then, not
Right.
like nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, not to get political, but Joe Biden is not going to probably die of a Russian bullet. Not that the Russians would be shooting at him, but
no.
I mean, but back then, back in the day, back in ancient times, you could get hit by
It meant something to be king.
Yeah,
back then.
You fought
Yeah.
side by side with your brothers.
At the front.
At the front. If you weren't seen at the front, you were.
Oh, brother.
You weren't a
it's
king.
over.
You weren't a king.
No.
People wouldn't respect you.
You're a queen.
Is that a little misogynist? But anyways, Hamilcar.
Hamilcar. He dies at the ripe age of 43.
Was it a painful death?
It was a painful.
Was drinking?
It was painful for Hannibal, which is what we're really focused on.
Was his liver? Did his liver kind of just?
Well, he was Iberian. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And Hannibal, he takes the reins from his father.
Right, because his father.
Is on campaign in Spain.
Okay, and then he takes the reins.
And he's conquering the littoral of Spain.
So, Hannibal conquered Spain?
Part of Spain, yes.
So, did he ever go to Carthage?
I think he was in Carthage a little bit.
Oh, okay.
In his life.
But so Spain was part of Carthage?
Yes, newly acquired.
Oh, so when Rome took it, it was just only natural that they would take Carthage? Or was that not? When they acquired Carthage, did they Spain was just a part of that?
Well, Carthage was acquired in the Third Punic War, 50 years after this.
Oh.
But Hannibal marches on a Roman ally in Spain on the coast, preempting the Second Punic War between Rome and Carthage.
Okay.
And he provocates. He provokes. He provocates.
Do you think
Rome?
Was he a fan of nuts? Did he eat a lot of
like crazy people?
Like walnuts,
walnuts.
almonds. Do you think he had a sack of nuts?
He was probably a date man, if I had to guess.
More figs and dates.
Yes.
I mean, because
he's a real fig man.
You got to put this into like a real situation.
We have to ground this in reality.
Did he ride a horse or an elephant, or did he walk?
He was about 5'9" on a good day, and he provokes the Second Punic War by marching on a Roman allied city in Spain.
What was their names?
Saguntium.
So Saguntium, is that the city name?
Yeah, sure.
They're are they quickening their boots, or are they we got this?
They are very removed from Roman power at this point. But they know the response is coming.
You mean backup?
Yes, but it's very far away.
Wait, so do they both lay claim to Sagunta?
No.
But Rome's just going to be a nice guy?
Yeah. So Hannibal marches up through Spain, through the Pyrenees, and up through France, up through Gaul.
Okay.
Approaching the Alps, and a Roman army lands in Gaul, in southern Gaul.
Yeah.
To try to intercept the Hannibalic army,
Hoping
hoping to provoke a fight.
But was it like a defensive war?
Of Rome?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, every Roman war is defensive.
But I mean, was it really?
Well.
I mean, could they have just been a little bit isolationist or not?
Well, they were definitely not isolationist.
I mean, they probably saw Carthage coming. Like, they were you gotta imagine, right? The Republican senators were in the House of the Commons of Rome.
Yeah.
And they were debating this, like,
Yeah.
do we send the army out? Do we send the generals out? Which general? You know, all that, right?
Yeah. Yes. They were... The Roman senators, you have to remember, very, very plump.
They ate too many hams.
Hams.
Yeah, they too much.
Anything.
Too much grease.
Too much grease.
If it wasn't for grease, they wouldn't have hams. If it wasn't for hams, they wouldn't have grease.
Yes.
Kind of like that.
Yes. It was a walking heart attack in Rome. I'll just say that.
Do you think? Well, anyways, go on. I don't want to.
The Roman army intercepts Hannibal in southern Gaul, hoping to provoke.
Okay.
But Hannibal doesn't take the bait because he's too smart for that. He avoids the army.
He doesn't need bait.
He doesn't need glory.
He's a man.
He already has.
He's a beard.
He already has glory inherited from his father.
He has a beard.
Like all great men.
He has a beard.
Yeah.
Is it a big beard?
It's bushy.
You know, I have a small bladder, I would say.
You know.
Do you think?
Me too.
Do you think what did Hannibal?
You know Hannibal? Hannibal's bladder.
Like I mean, marching like
minuscule. He had a Habsburgian bladder. I'll just put it like that.
Is that a good bladder or a small bladder?
Bad, quite bad. It was vestigial. He had a vestigial.
Well, I'm
bladder.
thinking. So you're Roman or now? Do Carthaginians have good armor?
Carthaginians?
Yeah.
Carthaginians.
I mean, was it like equivalent to Roman armor?
It was light.
So leather.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit of chainmail.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit.
It was built for agility.
Do you think microphones were named after a guy
Microphone.
named Mike?
Oh, micro comes from the Greek for small.
Who wasn't there
Micro.
some commander they named small?
They called Napoleon the Little Corporal.
Whoa, you're really loud in my left ear, but keep going.
That's it.
Okay.
The Little Corporal.
So you said Hannibal is 5'9"?
I don't know. I assume so.
What makes you assume that?
It's a powerful height.
Okay. Napoleon was 5'9" too?
5'7". Even more powerful.
Stalin?
5'5".
Really?
Yeah.
You know Tom Cruise is really short?
Yeah. Ulysses S. Grant? 5'2".
Are you? No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Someone verify the fact check. Oh my gosh.
Robert E. Lee? Like 6'2" or something like that.
Wait. Oh, okay. We're on to something there.
Yeah.
So I kind of believe people used to be short more due to malnutrition, but then again, the Gauls were tall, so
They were.
and I doubt were better in nutrition than the Romans.
I have breaking news.
Yeah.
Ulysses S. Grant, it says 5'8".
Wow. Wait, so you were wrong. But that's
Well, I
still,
wouldn't put it that way.
you were still pretty short. I mean,
He's still kind of short.
he's still short.
Yeah.
I mean, you were short of the inches, or no, you were tall on that.
I mean, 5'8", really.
Really. So,
Wow.
anyways, so we gotta get back into so Hannibal.
Yeah.
He's got his moccasins on, or what kind of boots do they have back then?
He has
Sandals?
He has leather. He has
Sandals?
He has cows. He has goat skin boots. He has
Or boot skin.
He has silky pants.
like a goth.
Yeah, like an emo.
Are they striped pants?
They are purple
Okay,
and
I'm
red.
gonna bring up on my mobile device. I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring up a picture of Hannibal.
Okay.
It's probably gonna bring up a picture of the wrong Hannibal. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know, Ridley Scott. You know, he's a historical movie director.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he direct a movie about Hannibal, who was like a modern day bad guy? Like, why didn't he do the actual Hannibal?
Yeah.